going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Let's make a night you won't remember. I'll be the one you won't forget. It's going down.
Hi, in this video we're going to talk about histograms. In the last video we talked about frequency distribution tables, and again remember that is just a table. It consists of classes, which are our ranges of values, and then a frequency. How many of our values from our complete data set fell in that range? And now for a histogram, it's simply a graphical representation of our frequency distribution table. We use a bar chart. So to do this in Excel, I'm going to highlight my data. So here I have my frequency distribution table. I'm going to highlight it, go to Insert, and now I'm just going to use the first 2D column right there, and you see that I've generated a bar chart. Okay, now this is a histogram in the crudest form, but there's a few features that we will want to do to make this better. Okay, the first thing is to add our chart titles, and we did that, or our axis titles, excuse me, we did that in the scatter plot. All right, so below here we can write class, but we may also want to label it. In this case, it's our average daily gain in pounds. Okay, and on the y-axis over here, we have our frequency. Okay, you can name this number, you can name this count, frequency. And you might want to change the title. All right, frequency does not tell us a lot. So we can say 2012, excuse me, average daily gain. Now, you can see here, these are my ranges, and this is how many. So the number of growers that had an average daily gain between 0.296 and 0.301 would be 2. Okay. Now, we want to do a couple of other things to this graph. Number one, frequency distributions typically, I said that wrong, histograms typically do not have any gaps between the bars. Okay. So to get rid of the gaps, I'm going to click on I'm going to click on the bar, double click on the bars, okay, and you should bring this up. Notice if you've highlighted all the bars, there'll be dots around all the bars. You don't just want to highlight one, make sure they're all selected. And then on your gap width, you just want to essentially take that to 0. I always like to leave mine at like a very small percent. It looks like 8% is as small as I can go. But typically a histogram will have no gaps. Okay, and I like to leave a little gap so I can see the difference. The other thing that I find useful, especially if I'm doing it in Excel, is I can click on the data, then right click and do add data labels. So again, let me show you that. You want to make sure that you click on the data. Again, make sure all of the bars have the dots around them. Right click and add data labels, and then select add data labels. And notice what it does. It actually tells me the numbers. It's not a big deal in this case because I can read these off pretty easy. But when we have larger numbers and this graph gets larger, it's harder to read them off, and so this is very useful. So the reason for doing that is if I want to know my total number of items that I have graphed here, I would add these up. 3 and 2 is 5, 1 is 6, 2 is 8, 1 is 9, 3 is 12, 1 is 13, and then 2 is 15. So I have 15 total data points represented in that graph. And if you look over here, notice I had 1 through 15 farms, so that is correct. Okay, and now this would be my, notice I can just grab it and drag it around here in Excel, but this would be my histogram right here. Let's go to our 2017 data and repeat the process. You highlight your data, insert, I'm going over here to charts, selecting the first bar, and then just a 2D bar. Okay. Doesn't matter what order we do this in. I'm going to say average daily gain 2017 to change my title. I'm going to add my axis titles. So this is class, and it's average daily gain in pounds. Okay. I'm going to do my vertical axis, and this is frequency. Okay. Then again, remember what we did. We double click on the bars and get rid of the gap. I'll show you why that's important in a second. And then if you want to know what the actual numbers are, again, make sure you've highlighted all the bars. See how when I double click there, I'm just doing this one. If that happens, click in the white space and then just come back, but double click right there. Oh, sorry, double click and then right click, add data labels. And I'm going to add data labels. And now this tells me my numbers. Okay, again, if I add all these up, it should equal my 32 farms I have there. So why do we do a histogram? Well, a histogram will tell us the shape of our data. Typically, we want our data to fall in a normal distribution, which is the bell-shaped curve. Starts off slow, comes up, comes back down. Okay. This does not start off slow, go up, and come back down. So this would not be bell-shaped. This has a bell-shaped tendency. Starts off slow, comes back down. But we have another blip here, so I'd want to look into that further. So again, this is telling me my shape of my data. And I would say that this is approximately bell-shaped. Okay, so you can see the difference. So what I've done on our last sheet is we're going to insert a frequency or a histogram, and I'm going to compare 2 years. I have the data from 2013, the data from 2017. So we're going to insert bar. Okay. And again, I've got this title here. I'll just move it to the top so we can see. All right. So again, we would want to change our title, 2013 and 2017 ADG. All right. We would want to add those axis labels. Go back, make sure you clicked on the chart, go back to add chart element, and let's add our vertical. This is frequency. Okay. Now in this case, I'm going to get rid of both the gaps. See. Since I have two displayed here, it does those automatically. Okay, and now I'm going to compare the two, okay? And so what this does on the chart is I see back in 2013, the blue, it comes up really quick and comes back down. And now in 2017, it comes up and then comes back down. So what I've noticed when I compared the 2 years is two things. Number one, it's shifting to the right, and it might not be really obvious to you, but notice that in 2013 we had no data points out here on the right side. So that's one thing. And the other thing is it appears the shape of my distribution is changing over time. Okay, so again, the histogram is just a graph representation of your frequency distribution, and we do it so that we can look at the shape of our data. And what we're looking for is that normal bell-shaped curve where it comes up and comes back down. A lot of the assumptions that we make in statistics are founded in the assumption that we have a bell-shaped curve. So we'll talk about that throughout the semester.
I'm yelling timber, you better move.